So the Prime Minister warned MPs not to obstruct the Brexit process before their debate on the bill to trigger it, the process of leaving the EU. Now, the latest poll shows the majority of the public support Theresa May's approach. But Brexit is viewed very differently in some of the countries she'll soon be negotiating with. A little earlier, I spoke to Zoltan Kovacs, spokesman for the Prime Minister of Hungary. I began by asking him about the upcoming elections in several European countries this year.
This year is going to be the age or year of revolutions, or upheaval in many respects. Couple of elections to go in Europe. Very obviously, the effects of a new era coming with the new administration in the United States tells us that we shall prepare for change to come. And the essence of the change, we believe, is going to be more concentration on those issues which really matter on the ground. That is a more pragmatic approach to issues that have been over-politicized or over-ideologized for the past.
Just let me concentrate, I suppose, detour for a moment or two, specifically to Donald Trump. Does the EU as a whole regard him as a threat to its future? We've heard what he's said about Brexit, and we've heard what he said about the EU, we've heard what he said about Angela Merkel.
Well, most certainly, as a representative of a smaller member state of the European Union, would abstain from anything like that, suggesting anything like that. We believe that respect is the first word that should come. Whatever the opinion, whatever the steps that are coming from one of the biggest countries of the world, the leading democracy of the world, you most definitely have to respect those steps. There might be, and there are certainly reasons behind those steps that are being done. And it shouldn't be taken as a threat, whatever is coming from that direction to Europe, but as an opportunity to re-engage yourself in self-investigation. We've been outspoken actually on European issues for the past couple of years, suggesting that indeed Europe should be looking back on its own past and future, readjusting itself, preparing for the challenges that are coming.
May I suggest to you that you're slightly pulling your punches on Donald Trump because, from your country's point of view, one of the bigger threats comes from the East, comes from Russia, Vladimir Putin, and the ambitions of that country.
Indeed, we've seen Soviet and later Russian behavior in different parts of the globe. But again, in that respect, just a couple of days after Mr. Putin's visit to Budapest, you have to, again, respect reality on the ground. And in that respect, we've called out for a reconsideration regarding Russia, because over-politicized, over-ideologized approaches to Russia are not going to work. We, in Central Europe, Hungary especially, have to rely on a partnership that is there, you like it or not. We are still, the European Union has never provided us the infrastructure that could have exchanged Russian dependence or infrastructural dependence on, say, gas and oil. We have to respect that reality. And that's why we were trying, and we are successful, keeping on cooperation and talking to each other, even in the most dire circumstances.
Let me get back to the prediction you're making about a year of revolution ahead in 2017. Does a lot of it, does nearly all of it, flow from the migrations, particularly of 2015, that put so much strain on member nations of the European Union, put so much strain on Hungary?
Well, migration most definitely was an acid test of the European Union, institutions and member states, but it's not standing out as one or as the sole cause of problems Europe is facing. We've seen economic problems, fiscal issues lingering around.
But added into that, and then you get the potential political upheavals of populist parties saying, there's been too much migration, we must look after the peoples already in our countries.
Well, you can call it populism, but the experience on the ground, especially in Central Europe, is going to be different from the perspective of Western Europe. And one lesson actually we've learned for the past year and a half too, is that you have to listen to those voices. One weakness of the European Union for the past couple of years was that it was not listening. I mean, the institutions were not listening to the voice of smaller states, who obviously have a different perspective on issues. Maybe for political, economic and social legacy reasons, for other reasons that have never been accounted for. And in that respect, not only Hungary, but Central Europe is having a voice by now. We believe, and that's the lesson actually of the last informal summit meeting in Malta, that step by step, those measures we have introduced, the vision or the recognition actually we have already provided for the past 2 years, are being recognized on the European level.
Let me ask you about Brexit. So when it comes to the negotiations, if Article 50 is triggered as expected by the end of March, then the negotiations can start. What would the attitude be in your country to this key question that's going to be put to the members of the European Union about Britain's desires? And this question is, we desire, we must have full control of our borders, yet we also want frictionless, this is the Prime Minister's words, frictionless access to the single market. Would your answer to that request be yes?
Well, the answer will be a European answer in that respect, because membership in the European Union is run on an institutional basis. Very obviously, Hungary has its own perspective. We were outspoken on that, and that is the security of our own citizens working here, living here on an equal footing. I think that's what we are going to insist to. But otherwise, under the direction of the Council, run by the Commission, the negotiations should be done by the 27 together.
OK, well, I'm not sure that was a yes or a no. Can I attempt one with the liabilities that the UK clearly faces going many years forward? Some people are putting a figure on it. I won't ask you to put a figure on it, but would you say that the UK will have to address fairly early on in the negotiations that it will owe the European Union a lot of money for many years to come?
Well, I would be very cautious about that, because any previous projections of what is going to happen basically failed. So we have to be very careful about how Brexit is going to be conducted and what the outcome of Brexit will be. And I think we've put in a term that should be guiding, not only for Hungary as an individual state, but again on the 27 level. We need a fair Brexit. Negotiations and the deal should be done in a way, renegotiated agreements should be done in a way that are going to be fair.
Well, how would you overall describe the attitude within Hungary to the UK and its Brexit? There are rumours coming in that in some countries they want to administer a punishment beating. You must punish the UK for leaving the European Union to discourage others from doing so. How would you describe the Hungarian attitude?
I don't believe the Hungarian attitude should be coming on that way or that line at all. If someone talks about a punishment, he or she is on the wrong track. Again, it should be done. I mean, negotiations, Brexit should be done in a fair way that is mutually beneficial for everyone, and I don't believe that the European institutions are in a position to dictate.
And timescale? Do you think it can be done in the 2 years as detailed in Article 50?
As we always say, responsible politicians should know about timing. If they believe and they announce that it should be done or could be done in a time span, it should be done and can be done in that time span.